Hey, Salam. How are you doing? On screen. Do that. Yeah. All right. Salam. My name is Mustafa. I am the host of Sabr Path. Um I've done game development. So a quick history. Worked at Treyarch during development of Black Ops 4, doing administrative work. Worked at an indoor cycling software as a service, doing QA work. It was kind of a video game, but it was more of software development than a video game. It was a gamified workout. That's what it was. Um, what else? Indie development done. I've developed Nexus Defenders, a narrative-driven tower defense game. I have another game, Beware Tomorrow, first-person horror escape room type of game. Um, that's been on the back burner for over a year now. I haven't really touched it. I would like to get back to it, but paying the bills is kind of important, and I haven't. Making games isn't really paying the bills. Let's see what else. On this channel, I talk about games, game industry, game industry problems, my perspective from when I was in the game industry, because I've been in AAA, I've been in software development, I've been in indie. Also, I teach at the college level. Um, I've taught for like a year and a half now, and so I taught game design and development, game testing, as well as graphic communication. So yeah, that's that. And we'll go get started on the live stream. So today I don't really have too much planned. I actually, so the plan is to end right now. It's a little bit after 10 a.m. Central Time, Central Standard Time, and I want to end this no later than 11:30. I have to be somewhere, so we're not gonna have this be longer than an hour and a half. I do have two options. I'm gonna make a poll real quick. So I have video reaction. Um, uh, I have two videos. One is, do woke games sell? I'm gonna make a poll. Do woke games sell? And the other one is the painful truth of hard games. Truth of hard games. Painful truth. If I can spell truth right. And let's do another option. Another option is other. If you vote other, please tell me something in. Okay, how come I can't post it now? What happened? All right. No, I don't need all these options. All right. Okay, so can I post it? There it is. Start poll. Start poll. All right. Is anyone in the Hey, Sarvanan. How's it going, Sarvanan? How you doing? And we have whoa, how do you say that name? Viet Islelio. I don't know. I don't know how to say that. The question, do you run your own engine or do you use a pre-made one? I use Unity. That's the engine I use. I use Unity. I am not an engineer. I don't have a plan on developing an engine. So basically, when it comes to game development, if you're going to make your own engine, you might as well, like, that is basically, if an engineer makes their own engine, like, it's for the purpose of, either they want to make their own engine, like they want to make an engine to sell or license out, or they just want complete control over everything, or it's like some other like goal in which it's like, hey, I want to make the entire game by myself. And that's not my goal. My goal isn't to make games like and say, "Hey, I did the whole thing by myself." Um, the goal is to make good games, and games that like achieve what I want to say, as far as having like a narrative and also the gameplay. Those are the narrative and gameplay and characters are much more important to me than saying, "Hey, I did everything by myself." I don't really have the goal of saying I made everything by myself. So yeah, that's why I don't do that. I don't really Viotis. That makes more sense. Viotis. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. And we got hey, Mohsen. Assalamu alaikum. How you doing? Hour and a half, easy day, easy day. Yeah, so how come you don't use Godot? Because I used Unity for a lot longer. Like before Godot was even like a thing. And because of that, I don't really have any plans to switch over to Godot. Um uh I do hear there's certain things that are easier on Godot, but it's less powerful, and I just don't really feel the need to switch over. The benefit of Godot, of it being open source and you don't have to worry about, like, the licensing and all that, like, I don't really care for that because, um with Unity, like, they don't start charging you until, like, you make more than $1,000,000 anyways or something along those lines, or some 100,000, um, users, something like that. The point is, like, by the time I get, like, 100,000 sales on the game, like, I'm rich anyways. If I sell 100,000 units of my game, like, I'm doing good. So, I don't really care about the whole licensing thing. Um, so, yeah, that's why I don't really, care to switch over. I'm used to Unity. I'm fine with Unity. I really don't care to change. Like, if I were interested in switching over, it would probably be to switch over to Unreal because, that is more of a like a AAA industry standard, and I'd have a better chance of, finding a job, and also Unreal looks better, out of the box, but, I don't really care for that, at the moment to switch over to Unreal. Um, I got Unity, there's lots of, jobs that, are tied with Unity, like mobile game jobs, etcetera. Let me see, do we have can I see the poll? Can I see the poll? There we go. Oh, it's 50-50. 50-50. All right, we need more people vote. Two people each? Man. Oh, wow. All right. So let's get a tiebreaker. Let's get a tiebreaker on this poll. Somebody vote. Somebody vote. Yeah, so the reason why I have to head out is because I have an interview and I don't want to be late for the interview. And so it is another teaching position with the same community college I'm at the moment, but it's a different satellite campus. So you have like your main campuses and you have like these satellite campuses, and I'm working at one of the satellite campuses that's like, let's say this is like 50 minutes away, 40 to 50 minutes away, drive. And I've been working there for a year and a half. And another one this one's closer. It's like about half hour away. So this is more ideal. This one, so the department chairman, she called me up yesterday, asked me if I can teach 3D Studio Max. So I'm not really, much of a 3D modeler, but I did take 3D modeling, forever ago in college, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, I can easily." I didn't say this, but, I'm thinking, "Yeah, I can easily relearn what I know," because this is an intro class. In fact, it's even more intro than the class I took back when, I I learned 3D Studio Max. So, because I looked at the student learning outcomes, and it's like, okay, this doesn't even include animation. And when I learned how to use it, I had to animate scenes as well. So it's like, okay, this is even easier. Yeah, I could definitely do this. I told her I can do it. And so today she's gonna interview me. I think it's mostly to like get to know me. Sounds like I have it in the bag. But I'll, just go get to know the chairman, meet her. Hopefully she says I have the job because this one, unlike the other campus that I teach at, the other campus, they do half semesters, which is very bad for me because a half a semester means I have to teach the same content in a condensed period, and also I get paid less because my job lasts 8 weeks. So this one's much better because it's 16 weeks. So that's nice to have a job for 16 weeks rather than 8 weeks. Plus, I get to spread out the teaching. Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to teaching 3D Studio Max, and hopefully the interview goes well, and uh also, like I said, it's a closer location, and I'll let her know that my skill set is this. Mention that I'm good at like 2D graphics, um, uh, game development. Especially let her know that I'm more towards the game development side. So if she has any game design courses that are open in the future, I would prefer those over this. But I mean, it's a job, much better than the warehouse job. Pays better than the warehouse job, and I'm more motivated to do this type of work than the warehouse job. So, yeah, that's the reason why I have to cut out the quick update on what's going on. Let me look at the chat real quick. Uh Sit more or have a better does it pay more or have better so, no, it doesn't pay more than the other teaching job, it pays the same, but the hours are if we're talking about the warehouse job, yeah, this definitely the warehouse job is the worst. It doesn't pay well at all. It doesn't I'm not doing well with this warehouse job, but as far as the teaching job, I am allowed to do both of them at the same time, because I'm allowed to have, like, 2 courses since I am an adjunct faculty. Adjunct faculty means that I'm a part-time lecturer, not a full-time professor. So, basically, these community colleges like to have adjunct faculty over full-time lecturers or full-time professors because they pay them less and don't have to pay for benefits, work benefits. It saves the company money. It saves the school money. So that's why they prefer having part-time. And so I'm allowed to have 2 classes at the same time with the same school. Um, so if I find a completely different school, that's even better because I don't have to worry about it. But this is my other class. So basically, this one, this 3D 3D modeling course, I would be teaching in person. Like I said, it's 30-minute drive away. The other class that's half a semester, that's online, completely online. So I don't even show up to the campus for this specific class. They told me it's an online class, so I don't have to drive to the campus. I could do it at home. And so it's going to be pretty easy for me to balance both the classes at the same time. I mean, what's probably going to happening is that I'll work all 3 jobs at the same time, the 2 classes as well as the warehouse job. So I'm gonna be pretty busy. There might be weeks in which I can't do the live stream because of the fact that um, I'm limited hours with the warehouse, and so if they give me hours on a Tuesday, then I got to end up doing that work regardless because I need the money. I need to make money and pay bills. Um hey, Moist Gamma, thanks for joining. Hola, Capcom will let dev use their proprietary engine. Spectating game div Asia, great. Start using. Okay. Yeah, I didn't hear. I don't know about Capcom. If they'll let others use their engines or not. I don't think they're in the business of licensing out their engines. I think they're more in the business of just making games. Doing good, mate. Busy with life as always. I'm glad you're doing well. Time to windmill. You can spend like a week or two brushing up on your mech skills after the interview. Yeah, I definitely plan on. So I definitely plan on brushing up on my 3D Studio Max. What I gotta do is download like the Educator edition, which is free, and then run through some tutorials real quick, and it's gonna be like riding a bike. I don't think the application changed drastically since the last time I used it. Of course they improve it, they change stuff up, but like the fundamentals are going to be the same. Plus, I work 3D with Unity, and like I said, the fundamentals carry over, and they're usually the same. So, um, yeah, I definitely should have time to brush up on it, especially since I think the semester starts like in late August, like August 20th, something like that. Let's see, July, probably like yeah, the like last week of August, second last week. Oh, let me get sorry, my bad. Transition. Let me get the yeah. There you go. There you go. My bad. Didn't have that on the screen. Are you going to talk about AI? I will talk about AI. I think that's something that I need to talk about because um like the tech and media industries are drastically changing, and if I ignore AI and just talk about what's been established before AI, then I'm doing the students a disservice. So gotta talk about AI. All right. So let me see the poll real quick. All right, painful truth of hard games. All right, sounds good. We'll have that. Let me get that on screen. So this, move it over. Transition. All right. So this is the painful truth of hard games. Let's look at this guy's channel real quick. So this is RNG Gamer YouTube. I don't know anything about this guy. I saw his video show up on my feed. Looks like he has a pretty good following, like almost 60K. Um, let's look at his videos. What type of videos does this dude do? Alright, I play all my games randomly. I collect so he seems to be like just a general gaming channel talking about random gaming topics. I have to beat whatever game you select. So I'm assuming, let's see, live stream, does he play what the heck is going on here? Anyways, let's move back. Does he have a doesn't look like he has a Twitch linked on here, so I guess he doesn't live stream. Mainly, I'm assuming he just plays off of his um YouTube channel. But anyways, let's end the poll. Let's end the poll. There we go. Are you going to watch Spider Man? Um, no, not. I don't go to the movie theaters. I don't have money for theaters. Um, So yeah, maybe eventually I'll watch it if there's good reviews, because these Marvel movies, um they're just not they're not there anymore. Maybe I'll talk about the what the Doomsday trailer afterwards if we have time, but let's anyway, so this is let's get to the main topic. We'll go over here. So I've never seen any of this guy's videos before. He just showed up on my feed. I was like, okay, that might be an interesting topic to talk about. So let's put the playback speed on, let's do a little faster than 1.5. Yeah, let's do that. All right, let's get started. If you need me to increases volume. So when I start this, what are you drinking? Hey, name gnome. How you doing? Glad you joined. I'm drinking coconut water. Coconut water mixed with water. Watered down coconut water. Now is it? What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I'm gonna start this up. Type 1 in the chat if it's good. Type 2 in the chat if you want me to make it louder. Okay? So let's get started.
Who you ask, I'm either one of the leading authorities on difficult video games on all of YouTube, or I'm some freaking poser who has no idea what he's talking about and wouldn't know a hard game if you put it right in front of him. Video game difficulty is a hot button topic, and people are very opinionated about it. Because every gamer has played a game they've struggled with, and they don't like people saying, I beat that game when I was 7 years old. That's not, how could you even say that's a hard game? On the other hand,
is he too fast? Also, let me know. One if the volume's good. 2 if I need louder. 2 louder. Okay.
it's really validating when someone you're watching online says, yeah, you know what? That game really is flipping hard. Millions of people have watched me talk about difficult video games. They're the most popular videos I do on this channel. And I have read tens and tens of thousands of comments of people telling me what an actual hard game is and why my definition of a hard game is wrong and why certain games should be included, why certain games should be excluded. I have seen every kind of comment you would ever imagine telling me why I'm wrong. And you know what? A lot of those comments, they are just fundamentally incorrect. Hey guys, I'm RNG Gamer. I play all my games randomly, and this is the painful truth about video game difficulty.
All right, what's the painful truth? Let me know. Let me know.
Apparently,
no, whoa. You want the painful truth? Okay.
About video game difficulty.
No game with infinite continues should be considered hard. I don't agree. I don't agree with that at all. Let's see what he has to say.
Apparently, according to many of you, if a game gives you infinite attempts to pass a section of it,
all right, slow down. Okay, I'll slow down a little bit. Yeah, he seems like he talks fast. Let's slow down. Let's go to 1.4.
Can't be considered difficult. That completely omits it from the conversation. Because with enough time and enough attempts, you'll eventually just get it. And this is one of my favorite arguments because it's so mathematically correct. It's so practically and fundamentally wrong in actual real-world setting. If this statement were true and an infinite number of attempts excluded something from being difficult, then music would never be considered difficult. No piece of music would ever be considered difficult because you can just have as many attempts to play it as you want. What you're seeing on the screen right now is an excerpt of Rachmaninoff's Third Piano Concerto. It is considered to be one of the most difficult pieces of music ever written. Concert pianists have dedicated their entire lives to playing it, and most of them have failed. There's an Academy Award-winning movie called Shine that tells the story of one of the best pianists in the world having a nervous breakdown trying to learn to play this song that leads to his life completely falling apart.
I don't get his point. Like, you do have infinite attempts to play that song. You mess up, then start over. Like, I don't understand his point.
Apparently, it's not difficult because you get an infinite number of tries to attempt it. Go do it. Go buy the sheet music right now and just knock it out. What's stopping you? It shouldn't be a problem, right? Because you can try as many times as you want. You'll eventually get it. Do you hear how crazy that sounds and how unreasonable that is? I've heard it said there are about 12 concert pianists in the world right now that can play Rachmaninoff's Third Piano Concerto, can sit down and perform it at this exact moment. I know a handful of games where only 1 or 2 people in the entire world could sit down right now and beat the game. That's how hard they are. There isn't infinite time in the day. There isn't infinite time in your life. If things ran to infinity and we were all
okay, so is he debunking? Like, I'm kind of confused. Is he debunking the point that infinite tries is not hard? I'm kind of confused by that.
Immortal, yes, that would be true. If you have an infinite number of attempts, you will eventually get it. But the truth is, some people just will not have the coordination or the dexterity to beat some of these games or to play that song. They do not have the anatomical and physiological traits to succeed. Just like
I think he was debunking that point. The point that was on screen, that you have no game with infinite continues should be considered hard. I think that's a point he was trying to debunk. Yeah, Mohsen, I agree with you. He's debunking the point. Okay, all right, we're on the same page. Because I was confused. I thought that the point they had on screen was his thesis, but actually it's his
you watching right now couldn't go out and compete in the Olympics and win the gold medal, no matter how hard you tried. You have infinite attempts to go out there and run and get as good as you can. Does that mean you're going to win the gold medal in the 100-meter? Of course not. Saying having infinite attempts at something makes it easy is not a valid argument. It's just not.
Like, this is, I believe this was, I was talking about this last time when I was I talking about the Prince of Persia game last week? It was with Daryl Mix game. Yes. Yeah. Last week. Yeah, the Prince of Persia game. Like this is the exact point I made last week when I was saying that Total Biscuit said the Prince of Persia 2008 is bad because like when you fall off a cliff, you respawn right at the same ledge you were last at. And like just because you respawn in the same spot doesn't mean doesn't mean it's an easy game. Like I agree with what he's saying.
Not true. But it does make the game easier. That doesn't mean it's not hard. Unlike some content creators, I actually play my own games, and if you want to see me do that, you should head over to my other channel, RNG Plays. You'll find fully edited videos of me playing the games you hear me talking about. I'd really appreciate seeing you over there. I hope I do. Whenever I see somebody complaining about a game being difficult, including me, there will always be a handful of comments saying, sounds like a skill issue. No shit. Just mention Dark Souls being hard somewhere, and you will have like 50 people saying, that just sounds like a skill issue. Dark Souls isn't hard. I don't understand how anybody could ever say Dark Souls is hard. Because it is hard. Millions and millions of people have said.
One thing I hear more than this is that, oh, the game's actually really easy. Elden Ring's really easy. You just need to have the right build. You just need to have the right, all this stuff. It's like, okay, but if you don't have all the right stuff, then you don't know about all that. Like, it takes knowledge to know that you need all these things to make the game easy. Why they never made a sequel to Prince of Persia, King of Iran? That's a nice one, Mustin.
That it's hard. It's so hard, it's an internet meme. The game was designed to be challenging and unforgiving. It was designed to be directionless. That requires experimentation on the part of the player to understand the game's mechanics, which are not laid out for you. The director of the game said he could not beat it himself. Yet because like someone has 2,000 hours in the game, they know all the fine details and the mechanics and the minutia of how everything works. All of a sudden it becomes not hard? You've lived and breathed that game for months or years. You've honed your skills to a freaking razor sharp point. Are you forgetting all the effort that took to get that good? Was that not hard?
Yeah, I completely agree with this point that he's saying because, like I said, I see people online saying, "Oh, this game's actually really easy. You just need the right build." Okay, like if it's that easy, why isn't everyone just mowing through the game? Why is Dark Souls known for its difficulty? You goofball.
Hard? Were you that good the first time you played? Is that what you're implying? You know how to exploit a boss without ever getting hit by like laying down or something during the fight? Like, you just figured that out your first try. Sure.
Oh, Cosgrove. Sorry, I forgot to say hi to you. Find it strange when devs themselves can't beat or play their games. Like Miyazaki can't beat the... Yeah, I mean the thing is, when I was working at let's switch over. Yeah, when I was working at Treyarch, like we have all these developers who are constantly playtesting the game. And like the truth is only like a few of the developers, Matt Scrance, like he was at the time when I was there, he was considered like the best player within the studio. Like not everybody that was at Treyarch were, like esports level first person shooter players. A lot of them were like, hey, I like first person shooters. And like this skill, being skilled at playing a game and being good at making a game are not like you don't need to be good at playing a game to be good at making a game. It's making the game is more about understanding what makes the game appealing for the fan base, the audience. What needs to be changed to keep it both challenging as well as what's the word I'm looking for? Like easy to get into, appeal, like having a broad appeal. So the point being is that the people that were at Treyarch, they definitely weren't like top tier first person shooter players. Like you have them go against the top players and they would all get stomped really badly. Um I mean that's not the case for all game developers and their games. Like when I was developing Nexus Defenders, I'm very certain I became much better at my own game than like anyone else that I saw play the game. Whether it was the play testers or the people who played on YouTube, because there's lots of YouTubers who played Nexus Defenders. And also there was lots of reviews that said that my game was too hard. So, when I was playtesting it, I was trying to make sure that I can beat the level. If I can't beat the level, then I scrapped. I not scrapped it, but I had to make changes. I had to make sure that I was able to beat it, and if I could beat it, then it's like, okay, it is beatable. But due to the fact that I played it so much, and also I knew like what combinations of turrets, the different towers, as well as what formations I had in mind when developing the map layouts. So that gave me even more advantage. But that's just an example of a developer can get a lot better than the players. But in reality, a lot of players, especially for these mass appeal games, like multiplayer focused games, the players can get much better than the developers. Let's get back to this. Let's transition. Let's get this back on the screen.
Yes, it is a skill issue, but gaining the skills is what makes the game challenging. Let me just ask, viewer, Greg, I know there's a Greg, how far did you make it into math in school? When you were in school, how far did you get in math?
Calculus.
Did you do algebra, geometry, trigonometry? Did you do calculus? How much calculus did you do? Did you do 4 years of calculus? Did you move into the next phase of differential equations? Is that what you did? Did you make it that far?
I failed the first calculus class. I took it 3 times. I failed.
It's pretty impressive. That's 15 solid years of fairly advanced math and developing those skills for an hour a day on average. I would say if you made it that far in math, you put in a lot of work, and it was probably pretty challenging. If you're a 5th grader and you look at the math homework of someone who's a senior in university, it's gonna look really freaking hard. It may even look impossible. Matter of fact, it probably is. They can't do it. They don't have the skills. It's a skill issue. Does that mean it's not hard because they haven't put in the time? No, that means it's harder. On the other hand, if you're a senior university math major and you go back to help a 5th grader with their homework, it's gonna be super easy, right? You have the skills, you can just knock it out. Let me tell you something. Any parent who
I really like this guy's example. I think this is a really good way of explaining. It's like, yeah, the guy who's at the final year of calculus just did all 15 years worth of math to get to that point. So the telling somebody who's like in 5th grade, hey, that's a skill issue, you should get better. It's like, okay, well, it takes a long time to build up to that point.
Has children and has had to help those children with their elementary school math homework will tell you those skills don't always
I use the calculator every day. Calculus is easy. Okay, I get the joke. That's not quite it, but we'll go with that.
Me and my wife, we have over 15 years of university level math education between the two of us. And almost every time we sit down with my daughter to help her with her homework, we get stuck. We can't figure out what they're asking. We don't know what they want us to do. We have to go online and look up how to do it and then figure out how to explain it to our daughter so she can do it. We are just as lost as she is, even though we built up those skills. The only difference is we have the skills to troubleshoot the problem and figure out how to do it. Dark Souls and games like that are very hard. Obviously, not having skills makes something hard.
Well, I mean, he says that he has the skills to troubleshoot. I mean, like, there's also the point that he wasn't constantly using those skills. Like, you have to rebuild those skills, just like like the phrase is just like riding a bike. You just need to get back on and relearn how to do it. Just like getting back into shape. You get if you get in shape one time, then you get out of shape. The next time you try to get back into shape, you become you get into shape faster because of muscle memory, and also like how to do it better. Um, I mean, I'm about to do it with 3D Studio Max, so it's it's about the fact that you haven't used those skills. Your skills have degrade because you weren't constantly practicing, but you're bringing them back up, and then like when you refresh, it's much faster than the first time you learned. I go to the gun range every weekend. I'm pretty good at trigonometry. Man, I haven't gone to the range in since I got laid off, because it costs money to go to the range, and I haven't. And well, not only money to go to the range, but also money to use up the practice bullets. So I haven't gone in like 3 years. I need to use my what is this thing? I need to do this more often. Let me get this out. This let me go back to the transition. This thing. See. Yeah. So this is like you put it inside the gun, and it's so I have like a target on the wall, and it'll do like a laser point onto the target, and I have a, let's say, I got my phone out with this app. The app will tell, I have the app aimed at the target, and then basically let me do I have I think I have a photo of it. Photos, photos, just to better explain. Yeah, I need to get back into that. Practicing my draw. Um, oh, I've got to scroll down quite a bit. I don't see it. There it is. Whoa, April is the last time I did it. Okay, so let me get this on screen. All right, let's show this on transition. So yeah, basically, like I have this target. This is a paper that's on the wall, and this app, it uses the camera, and basically it marks all the spots I shot, and then it'll tell me, okay, out of 10 shots, this is what you did. So it's not as good as going to the range, especially since there's no kickback to the gun. But I mean, it's the next best thing. So I need to do this more often. Let's go back to the painful truth. Let's go back here. Let's get back. You have a gun to protect your home? Yes. I have a Glock. What is the gun called again? Glock 47X? Let me look that up. 45X? Glock 43X. 43X. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I got. I got Glock 43X. Glocks are generally very good guns, very reliable. They don't have accidental discharges. Will last you a long time as long as you, like keep it clean, upkeep it. So show it. It's in the other room. Also, I don't. I think there are rules against showing guns on live stream. I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that. Especially like a gaming. It depends on what kind of channel. Like if this was like if this was like a gun safety, or like personal protection type of self-defense type of channel, I think I'm allowed to show it. But yeah, definitely not gonna. Here, I'll show this off. My massage gun. Yeah, there you go, my massage gun. There we go. Let's turn that off. As a bullet head. um Anyways, let's get back to this. let's get back to this. Let's listen to what he has to say. I agree with this point. He should wrap it. It looks like he's gonna wrap it up soon.
But just because you put in 1,000 hours and use every outside resource to learn how to break the game doesn't mean you get to exclude other people's struggles. It doesn't work that way. So saying it's a skill issue is a fair, valid argument for saying someone's bad at a game, but it's not an argument to say a game's easy, because it's not.
Boy design games shouldn't be counted.
This is probably the comment I got the most on my.
Let me think. I have to think about that. I think I probably agree with we'll see what his debunking what he has to say about that to debunk that point. But I kind of agree that poorly designed games shouldn't be counted, because if a game is poorly designed, that's the whole point. I had to do play testing on Nexus Defenders. I had to play it over and over and over, and if I tweaked the each wave of enemies, it's a tower defense game, there's waves of enemies, and for me to keep the challenge progressing, I had to make the enemies have larger health as well as come in more numbers, etc. So then I had to also their speed. Like sometimes I made them come faster. So I had to tweak some of the stats. Like, okay, they're coming too fast, or they're moving, their pace is too fast, or they got too much health, or it's just you're not getting enough money to build more towers, etc. So every time I made a small change, I had to replay it and test to see if it made it more fair. And that's the key word, fair, not easy. I wasn't trying to make it easy, I was trying to make it fair. And if a game is designed poorly and it's unfair, then I don't think that I kind of agree that it shouldn't count. But we'll see what this guy has to say. OG Jaguar console box
video where I talked about the hardest game on every video game console. Games that are poorly designed or have bad controls shouldn't be counted. You should only count games that are actually good, that are hard. I must have read every variation of that statement like over 500 times. I'm not even joking. It's insane. I can't believe so many people, they just come to that conclusion. And I want to agree with it in principle. I really do. But the truth is that almost none of the games I've ever talked about were considered bad for their time period. You're judging them by modern standards and then calling them bad. Like someone looking at a 50-year-old movie and saying it sucks because it has.
Okay, I still don't agree with him. Like, bad for its time and modern no. If a game comes out and it's unfair, like I'm standing with this. If a game is unfair, then that's poorly designed. Because game balance and making sure your game is beatable is essential. If the developer can't beat the game, then it is poorly designed. This is why in Mario Maker, it requires you to beat the level before you publish it online, because they don't want you to publish a bunch of impossible levels. You just go develop the hardest thing ever, and it's completely unfair. And they don't want the servers to be flooded with all those. There are a lot of levels that are like really difficult and near impossible to beat, but because the people who developed those levels beat them, it shows that it is beatable.
Bad special effects, because it's not as good as a movie that came out last year. Yeah, they didn't have the technology to do that. Those old games were unintuitive, unbalanced, they had slippery controls, no save points. But that's just the way they were at the time. They were all like that, more or less. You can't look at a development technique that's been honed over 40 years and gotten better and better and better.
Well, I agree with what he's just said right there about the having save points and all these things. Yeah, okay, yes, I agree. But my point is it still stands.
use that to exclude stuff that was done 40 years ago. A lot of people say it's fake difficulty. These games weren't just made by some dude in his garage. These games were made by professionals. They had funding from investors. There was oversight from publishers, and they had retail releases in which
I think he's giving them too much credit. Some of these games were jank. Some of these games were bogus. I think he's giving them too much credit.
millions of dollars were spent pressing them to discs or putting them on carts, and then they were sold in stores. Someone is not going to make that investment knowing that the game was designed intentionally poorly. They need a return.
Well, in these older days, a lot of these investors were just investing in anybody who was making a game. They're like, we need a video game. We don't know anything about video games. Oh, you can make a video game? Here's some money. The earlier days of game development, it was like the Wild West. There wasn't a lot of knowledge about how a lot of this worked, and that's why a lot of the executives, they were completely out of touch.
Investment. Yes, gameplay can feel dated. Games can feel poorly designed, but that doesn't mean they're not hard. Just because you don't like the controls doesn't mean the controls are not hard. It could mean that it's bad. It could mean that it sucks. It could mean that it's not worth playing. But the difficulty is static. It is difficult to beat that game. It is difficult to control it. All those flaws add to the challenge. They don't omit it. Also, something being good or bad is subjective. And that's the same thing about controls. I've seen two comments.
I had the whole disagreement with Daryl last week. I'm not going to go into that again.
Each other under a video. We're like, you shouldn't include Ikaruga. That game has the worst controls of all time. They're literally impossible. It's the worst game design ever made. In the very next comment, we'll say, Ikaruga is the best designed game of all time with perfect controls. I've seen it over and over and over again. The truth is, everything has to be
I don't know why people think Ikaruga has bad controls. Like, it's a top-down shooter. What's wrong with the controls? I don't understand.
Fair game. Or nothing is fair game. Once we start imposing rules on what is or is not difficult, then we can use those rules to exclude anything we don't like.
Listen, I agree that a lot of old games were designed literally to take quarters, and the early console days they carried over this concept because like it was like a checklist of these are what make a video game. Having lives, having a game over, having a top score, like all these things were in arcades, and it makes sense in arcades. But then you carry that over to consoles, and it doesn't make any sense, especially if you only have one person playing, and then your top score becomes like all you, and then maybe one other person. Like top score makes no sense when like you have like one person or maybe a couple of kids, 2 or 3 kids. Lives didn't make sense. That's why in Wolfenstein 3D there's lives, because the developer said, yeah, games had lives, so we copied that. But then in Doom they didn't add lives because like this doesn't make any sense. They learned. Yeah, I agree that a lot of these older games were designed specifically to take coins, though it doesn't counter what he's saying though. I think the main thing he is overlooking, I think what it seems like he's saying is that because these games are old doesn't mean they're bad. He seems to be saying that all of the flaws in these older games are due to them being dated. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree that these games are just dated. Some of these games are bad. Ikaruga I don't think is bad, but like there are older games that are bad.
I don't want to do that, man. I'm a scientist.
In fact, a lot of Nintendo games, like there are so many Nintendo games that are just terrible. Like the games that were developed and published by Nintendo were most of them were great, but then you look at other NES games. I'm talking about the Nintendo Entertainment System. The NES had hundreds of games, and lots of them are really bad. You look at the quality of the games on the NES and compare them to the quality of games on the SNES, and the quality is much is drastic. It's much better on the SNES. Same if you go back even further and look at like the Atari. The Atari games, like even more so are bad games. There were I mean, like E.T. is the most famous example. It's a terrible game. So anyways, let's get back to this.
I want to be objective about this. Let's do a real world example. I like doing real world examples. Let's keep doing those for each one of these. Let's talk about mountain climbers. Mountain climbers trained their butts off learning how to climb mountains.
Okay.
They learn about ropes and different types of knots and how to control their breathing. They exercise. They have hand grip strength that is shocking. They do rock climbing. They learn about like rationing food. There's so much that's involved with it. And they need to do that to succeed in summiting some of the most dangerous environments and tallest and jagged cliffs, all that stuff, so they don't die when they do it. That's a hard challenge. But when you think about it, the tallest mountain in the world, Mount Everest, it's poorly designed. Like you have to get there 3 weeks before you start going up the mountain to like hang out in this village to like acclimatize.
I don't agree with this at all. Poorly designed? Like we're talking about nature versus I completely disagree with this analogy. This is not analogous at all, because like the point of rock climbing is that you are you're getting the workout of like doing the climbing, but it's not. The mountains are not designed like this is not analogous, because the mountain was not designed by a person. The mountain is a result of thousands or millions of years of like wear and tear and weather and all this stuff. Like it's not the same. It's not, you can't, they're not analogous. No, I disagree.
And that's before you even get to start like going up the actual mountain. The weather up there just sucks. It's terrible. There's like clouds. You can't see what you're doing. There's only like a 4-week window in the entire year where you can actually go up Mount Everest and go to the summit. You have to use oxygen because there's not even enough air to breathe. All the training you've done is pointless because there's
no. Let me. I'm just gonna. I'll let him finish his point, and I'm just gonna say, and I'm gonna finish my point. My counter is that when you make an analogy of something that is designed by a person, you need to make that analogy with something else that is also designed by a person, because the point of the design is that the designer is making a game that is fair and that is beatable. That's my main counter to this. Like the whole rock climbing, mountain climbing specifically. Like if you just talk about like an indoor rock climbing wall where you have those pegs, I mean, okay, we can have a discussion. But now you talk about Mount Everest being poorly designed. No. Anyways, I'm gonna let him finish this up because I have like 25 minutes left. So let's get through this.
There's just no air up there. There's like 50% the amount of air you need to move. And the path you take up to the mountain changes every year because there's some giant ancient glacier up there that shifts around all the freaking time. There are a bunch of dead bodies and trash like laying all over the ground. And there's a whole bunch of like Instagram influencers that want to take pictures at the top of the mountain so badly that there's a traffic jam of like 6 to 8 hours every time someone tries to get to the top, and people just die waiting in line. It's just a miserable experience that goes against every single thing involved with mountain climbing. None of that crap is like climbing any of the other mountains. Would you say climbing Mount Everest is easy because it's poorly designed? We shouldn't consider it to be hard? No. All those flaws add to the challenge. They don't omit it. If 1 million people say something's really hard, it's hard. If you're thinking to yourself right now, man, I really want to buy some of these freaking hard games and see what he's talking about, well, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Goodies. Goodies is my favorite online marketplace.
Mount Everest is not a poorly designed.
If they have something you want, feel free to trade in your games for cash or store credit. You send them over $200. Shipping is saying you shouldn't even have picked that game because nobody's ever heard of it. You should only pick games people actually play. You need seller fees. Thank you so much, Goodies, for sponsoring this video. Let's talk about some more hard games.
Obscure games don't count.
I get a lot of
I
people
don't agree
saying
with that.
you shouldn't even have picked that game because nobody's ever heard of it. You should only pick games people actually play. You shouldn't have picked Holy Diver as the hardest game on the freaking NES because no one's ever even played that game. Who cares about it? You should only cover games people. It should have been Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was my favorite cartoon when I was a kid, and that's what you should have covered. I'm upset that you didn't do that. That's what every one of those comments is. That's it. This isn't a popularity contest. I didn't even pick Holy Diver. The math picked Holy Diver. Also, harder games tend to get played less because they require more effort. It takes a lot of time to beat a hard game. It takes a lot of time to even make progress in a hard game, and you know how people are. If it's not easy, they'll bounce right off of it. Most people they're pretty lazy when it comes to finishing video games. It's just the way it is, okay? I hate it, but I don't even know what to say about it. Like this argument, what is this argument? Like you just want a video of me talking about Pokemon.
Man, the range on that
Halo
projectile
and
looks
That's
frustrating. External help. Okay.
It's sometimes hard to make videos talking about difficult games because a lot of games that are insanely difficult are made trivial by outside help, like using a guide or watching a walkthrough or something like that. And the truth is, a lot of people when they sit down and play games, that's just what they do. They get stuck for 1 second and they just look up the solution. And they don't really consider that is affecting the gameplay experience, although it does. That's just the way they play games. I think that's the way probably like a majority of people play games. And I do it. If I get stuck in a game, I'll look up a guide on how to get through that part, but I don't just sit there and follow a guide.
Okay, so I'm gonna make 2 points. While so when it comes to the guides, there are 2 different points I want to bring up. One is that when it comes to like these older games, some of them are designed specifically so you have to get the guide. For example, in like Castlevania 2, I can't remember like what. Anyways, Castlevania 2. This game is like kind of like open. Don't want to call it open world, but it's not like a linear one level to another level to another level. You kind of like explore the whole map. And this game had things that were like literally impossible to know that this is how you progress unless you read like Nintendo Power and you saw that Nintendo Power told you that you're supposed to. So either you get like the Nintendo Power magazine or you had to like buy the official guide. I don't know if there was an official guide or not, but I think at the very least Nintendo Power. And then you had to have this stone in your inventory, and then you go to this specific spot on the map and you duck for like 20 seconds, and then this tornado comes and then takes you to another part of the map. Like that's literally impossible to know unless you have the guide. And like in that case, it's like, yeah, that was unfair. Like that's unfair. Um, I know some people are gonna like disagree with me on this one, but there was Zelda Ocarina of Time. There's one part where I never beat the game, so I don't know all the characters' names, but one of the potato dudes is like inside his room. And like you're supposed to go to the door and you're supposed to play a song at the door and then he'll be happy and he'll open the door. Otherwise you can't progress. And I was like, I had to look it up. I looked up on like game FAQs so I can progress. I was like, I tried going everywhere. Where am I supposed to go? And I found it said that on the game FAQs, it said you're supposed to go to the door and play the song. And then I told that to one of my friends, and one of my friends is like, well, it says he's upset. You're supposed to play a song to make him happy. I'm like, how am I supposed to know that? He was like, the game's about the ocarina. You're supposed to play music. Okay, all right. To me, that seemed more like something that is specific for a guide that you need to like you need the guide to tell you how to beat the game. The other point I want to bring up is that yeah, sometimes something can be poorly designed so that you like got to look up the guide anyways because you just want to beat the game. Like my kids are playing Marvel Superheroes, Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, and sometimes they get to a point where it's like, okay, they beat the boss, and then they have to do something like have Captain America throw his shield on something, and like the target doesn't show up on the thing. So they're kind of just stuck. They're wandering around like, what do we do to progress? So then I have to look it up. And I'm like, okay, this guide says you have to aim Captain America's shield at this thing, and then you can hit it, and then you'll progress. Like the thing that they were supposed to hit, it wasn't even shining. Like a lot of times, if there's something that's context sensitive, it'll shine. It'll have some sort of indication that it's something that they can do something to. But for some reason, there's an inconsistency, and some items don't have a shine. So I feel like at that point, that is something the developers overlooked. It wasn't something they intentionally are like, yeah, we gotta make this for the guide, but it's more like something that they overlooked or forgot or something like that. Guys used to come in a game case. Now the game doesn't come with a guide. Thanks, Sony. Well, those are more like instruction manuals. The instruction manuals were more about like it would tell you like a little bit about the game's lore, like some of the characters, the backstory, and then like the controls for the game, etc. Those aren't really guides. I'm talking about like the big thick guides that would like go level to level. All right, let's get back to this. Got like 17 minutes left before I gotta close the stream.
All the way through. That takes away all the fun for me. But maybe using a guide makes it more fun for them. I'm not the judge of that. But I am the judge of saying that using the guide makes the game easier. By definition, it does, because you weren't able to do it without the guide. It was too hard without a guide. Look back at those old Sierra adventure games on the PC that were so convoluted and esoteric, and the puzzles didn't make any sense, and you would walk around for months in the summer hoping you got lucky to make some sort of progress. And it was essentially impossible without a guide, unless you just played that one game for like 5 years. But you know, using a guide, you can beat it in an afternoon. Does that mean the game's not hard? No, it means it's easy with a cheat sheet. People also love to use like guides and strats to cheese a boss or figure out how
to... also it could be like the game's poorly designed.
Skip an entire area of a game. When I played Ninja Gaiden Sigma, which I thought was very hard, every guide I saw and almost every person who came into the chat told me to just spam one special move, the Azuna drop. Just do that over and over and over and over on every enemy, and it makes the game super easy. What if you didn't know that? What if you didn't know the Azuna drop was broken and you try to play the game as intended? Well, it's probably a lot harder. You're exploiting a broken mechanic or an overpowered move to remove the difficulty from the game. So
yeah, and then that makes the game less fun. You're just spamming the same move over and over.
I know how I feel about that. Yes, you're circumventing the difficulty, but the game is also allowing you to do it. Does that make the game easier? Maybe. I do find that when a game has a community of people that are playing it regularly and figuring out every mechanic and the best optimal strategy for every part of the game, people start to view those games as easier. No one ever said Dark Souls was easy until it blew up, and then all of a sudden it's really easy. Because there's infinite information out there on how to do every part of the game, and you know, over-level Arcane and you can one-shot every boss. If you didn't have that information though, you would say the game is really hard. People are basically saying hard games are easier because they found a loophole in the whole gameplay. And I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about it, man. I guess that does make the game easier. So what's the conclusion to this giant harangue? Like, what is the purpose of all this? The purpose is, I don't like exclusion. I don't like seeing comments of people excluding other people's struggles. None of these are real valid arguments to say something is not hard. You can't find a list of the top 10 hottest hot sauces in the world and leave a comment saying, you shouldn't have counted like 5 of those because they don't taste good. You should only count hot sauces that actually taste good. Well, the ones that taste bad, those don't even count. That's not the list. The list is the hottest hot sauces, not the hottest best hot sauces you'll like or the top 10 hottest hot sauces you may actually want to eat. That's not what it is. I didn't make a video called the top hardest game on every console that you're actually going to want to play. Although there were like 4 or 5 Game of the Year winners on that list. People like they were all terrible because like one Intellivision game was like janky. Okay, fine. So that leads me.
Hey Liam, how's it going? We're just wrapping up this video with RNG Gamer. I think that's his name, RNG Gamer. He's talking about hard games. But we're going to be wrapping up soon. So it looks like there's only like a couple more minutes left on this.
To your point, what should exclude a game from being actually considered difficult? Well, I think like predatory games that are designed to be impossible without having to spend money shouldn't count. Like mobile games where
I agree with that.
50,000 hours to unlock something that you could pay $9.
But that also falls into poorly designed games.
That is artificial difficulty. I don't think those should be considered at all. Even some of these arcade games where you can't beat the last boss or damage it until the arcade machine reads that you put in $5 worth of quarters. And those games exist. You will not be able to beat the last boss until you put $5 of quarters into that machine. That's excluded. That's not difficulty, that's exploitation. Games that can't be beaten or are unfinished and you can't really reach the end, I don't think that those should be counted with an exception. And that is that the metagame is like figuring out how to circumvent those bugs. There's some really janky, broken games. There's like a whole community of people trying to find strategies to like actually work their way through the game. That becomes the difficulty of the game. So I would kind of count those like in a different category, even though the game's like broken. There's still a challenge there. The challenge is just centered around like, you know, glitching out the game and like, you know, warping to other parts of the game and stuff to get past bosses that don't load in and things like that. I think those can be counted in a special category. I don't think they're excluded because the challenge of figuring all that stuff out and executing it is definitely, it's hard. That's hard. Okay, so like, yeah, that counts. Did you guys enjoy the video? I hope so. I've already asked you to do it once.
Okay.
Do that for me.
All right, let's so thank you RNG Gamer. I'll go give that a like. I agreed with most of his points. But like I said, I think the main thing that he overlooked is the idea of like it seems like he dismissed the concept of game developers not knowing what they're doing, not understanding game balance, not understanding game design, and making a game that's unfair. And it seems like he mostly focused on retro games, like he's not looking at indie games, but even retro games, just because they got publishers, just because someone got a publisher doesn't mean the game was made well. A game can still be published and still be bad. So I think that's the main thing that I disagree with him on, but I do agree with all his other points. What do you guys think about that? You guys enjoy that video? Let me switch over. Let's switch over to this screen and take that off. Gonna wrap things up. You know, as I mentioned already, I do have an interview that I have to get to. I don't want to be late, so I want to make sure I give myself enough time. You know, change my clothes, etc. Get myself ready. Since I do have a little bit of time before anyway. Well, real quick, let me know what you think about the video. W if you liked the video. L if you thought the guy didn't know what he's talking about. Yeah, let me know, chat. Let me know. Also, if you want to do a super chat, we didn't have a super chat today. I don't think so. Yeah, if you want to do a super chat, yeah, if you want to do a super chat, go ahead, leave a super chat. I'd appreciate it. If you can't do a super chat for whatever reason, then you know, please leave a like on the video, and that really helps the algorithm out. Yeah, I got yes, name no. I have a job interview. What I mentioned earlier in the video, I think before you came in, was that I'm being interviewed to teach 3D modeling class at community college. But yeah, so you know, like I was saying, like the video. If you want to support the video, if you want to support the channel, you can also become a member, which I'm going to go over the member. I'm going to give a shout out to all the members very soon. So if you're a member, you can, well, one of the bonuses you get is you can use these, what is it? Boom, there, all these emojis. Gotta make that go down. Nope. Okay, there we go. All right, yeah, all those are the members only emojis. And I give shout outs at the end of the live streams as well as the videos, which I'm going to try to. I would like to try to make one soon, new video. The you know, but I can't, I'm not going to make any promises due to the schedule being crazy. What else do I want to say real quick? Oh, there's somebody in the comments. I think I could talk about this real quick in less than 5 minutes. Somebody in the comments was from last week's. Let me go to that real quick. Content. last week's live stream. So let me go to the comments of that. Looks like somebody just didn't understand my viewpoint. Here we go. All right, so let me get this on screen. Transition. So this is from last week. So I talked about at the end of last week's, I was talking about um suggestive characters. Um let me see if I'll just type it out real quick. This is the word. Let me Yeah, that's the word right there on screen. So when I say suggestive, I mean that. That's the word I'm trying to say. So, because I don't want to say it too much, because if you say certain words, especially for a gaming channel, if you say certain words, YouTube doesn't like that. So, that's why I'm going to say suggestive. But anyway, so I was talking about suggestive characters and how the bikini is inherently suggestive, because my thesis is that what makes somebody suggestive is the body. The body is what gets people aroused. It's not the clothes itself, it is what becomes more revealing, either more revealing or more it doesn't need to be like like completely revealing. If it's form fitting, like if, for example, a superhero suit, like you can see everything. A bodysuit, a superhero bodysuit, like you can see everything. It's just, it looks like they are wearing nothing, but they have color of the material. Like at that point, that's also suggestive, because it is form fitting and it's leaving no room for the imagination. So my thesis was that um the more revealing something is, then it is more suggestive, because what gets people like aroused is literally the body itself, especially if it is a healthy, a healthy, fit body for women, and you more an hourglass figure. That's what I was saying. And I was also saying that I don't like having too many suggestive themes in games, because it makes it like, for me, like I don't want to play stuff that are suggestive in front of the kids. Like that's one of my main things. I don't like objectifying women. I don't like having suggestive stuff on my screen, etc. So this person right here was saying that I don't like. He said, in my opinion, you're wrong about disliking aspirational, attractive characters. That's like, I never said that. I never said that at any point in the video. I said I don't like suggestive characters. And yeah, I told him, I was like, yeah, I made lots of videos literally on this, on the fact that characters shouldn't be ugly. They should be aspirational. They should be attractive. But there's a difference between attractive and suggestive. And then, this person says that can't really tell the difference between suggestive and attractive. And I told him, I was like, look, this is, if we that video I had last week, I was reacting to Daryl Talks Games, or I think that something, that's his channel, Daryl Talks Games. And Daryl Talks Games was convoluting a bunch of different definitions together. And like, we can't just convolute, just because there can be an overlap of certain words. Certain words can have an overlap. It doesn't mean we should just start convoluting them all together. There's a difference between attractive and suggestive. Just like how a memorable game, a game that achieves the game developer's intent, a popular game, etc. All these are different things, but they don't mean the same thing as a good game. And I'm telling him that, you know, like, a woman can be attractive, and then she's dressed modestly and goes to something professional looking, like a business interview, or she goes to church, etc., she can still be attractive, but she's dressed modestly. And then you take that same woman and she's wearing something completely revealing. Now she's suggestive. She's the same woman, she's still attractive, both cases, but in one case she's suggestive. And that's like what I was trying, like the example I was telling him, like, don't convolute the two. So, like, just because I say something, my point, I guess the point I'm trying to come up with is that just because I say something that you don't agree with, if you don't agree that, um, for example, I don't want lots of suggested characters, suggestive, especially suggestive women in games, and you don't mind it, just because we disagree on that, doesn't mean like I am taking the complete opposite stance as you. It doesn't mean that I completely, I'm completely against attractive characters. Like there's lots more nuance to this. I'm not trying to pick on this user. I'm not picking on him, but I'm just responding in a way that I want to like make clear that we can disagree on things, but it doesn't mean that I have like the complete opposite stance that you have. A lot of people are not parents. That's the side you don't understand till you have kids. Yeah. But it's more than just being a parent. I like generally. I think when it comes to society, I think the objectification of women, like letting women go on OnlyFans and go wild on there, like the propping up the adult entertainment industry. I think this has done huge damage, like to everybody. To women, it's done damage to men. It's like I feel like it's just because you like it doesn't mean that um there's not damage coming from it. You can like something, you can admit that you like something, but also like realize that hey, this is doing a lot of damage. I like ice cream, but should I eat ice cream every day? No. Definitely don't eat ice cream every day. Where to contact you? I want to tell you a couple things. Let's see. So I should have the email. Let's go. Your channel. If you go over here to my channel, you should see my email address. info@subarpath.com. And that'll get to my Subarpath email. So if you want to email me, go ahead and email me there. Anyways, let's go back to members. Oh, can I give? I was trying to look into this. Where is it? Earn, and I'll go to members. There's supposed to be a way that I can give people memberships for like a trial. I'm not really too sure how to do it though. I'd like to give memberships to like you guys who show up like regularly. At least like if I can give a trial, like just for the sake of like letting you guys use the emojis for a month or whatever. But anyways, I'm not really too sure how to do it. But let's go through these real quick. Let's give everybody a shout out before I wrap things up. Again, please leave a like on the video if you got this far. I appreciate it. So Zezag, 16 Helder, Gizmobobobo, Scott, Mohid, Crash and Burn, Asgojon, Fire Alone, Mr. 10 Years, James, Marberry, St. Hugo, 4 Matt 1, Neckbeard, Tana Pop, John Doe, Josh Kitchen, Spartan Case, Peaceful Dance, Fight Me Games, High Tech Bull, Kyle B, and Southern. Thanks for all the members who are supporting the channel. I mean, most of them are Mr. 10 years with his 20 gifts that one time. But don't give for free. I just wanted to like some of you guys that keep showing up every live stream, and I want to at least be like, hey, thank you for showing up. Just show that I appreciate you guys for showing up, because it's you guys who show up to the live streams incentivize me to keep doing these live streams. So I appreciate it. Crush that interview, bro. Thanks, Cosgrove. I appreciate it. Thank you all, you guys, for showing up. Let me switch over to this screen. Wrapping things up. Thanks for showing up. I should be doing another live stream next week. And actually, I might not. Because next week, is it the 4th? Yeah, the 4th. Okay, I'm probably going to do a different day. Yeah, 4th is not a good day to do it. Let's see. Calendar. Yeah, so next week I'm not going to do it on the 4th, but okay, Monday's bad. I work at 12:30. Tuesday's worse. Whoa. I work all day. Actually, I can probably do it after work. I don't know. Maybe I'll bump it over to Thursday next week. Oh, actually, I'm looking at this week. Oop. There we go. All right. So next week. All right, Monday. Yeah, I could do Monday. I'll probably do Monday. Monday's empty. All right. We'll probably go do Monday next week. All right. Anyways, take care. Thank you. Sanam.